the first thing we're going to talk about is just how this whole project started. So we did our first project tuning, and I have Marissa Thompson here to kind of explain how that went, because she was gracious enough to offer her time to do that with me, with a couple students. So first of all, thanks, Marissa, for doing this with me.
Oh, gosh, absolutely. It's a pleasure.
And, okay, so let's just start with what is the project tuning? And just from your perspective of, like, what it is.
Okay, so our first experiences with project tuning were with people who really had done several of them before. We had teachers who were quite experienced. We had students who were used to the process as well. And then there were us, new teachers who were new to the experience. So we wanted to replicate that, and we brought in a new teacher who had never done a tuning, as well as two students who are in your class and have been in your class for a number of years and know you and your teaching and your goals. And we listened to your idea and your purpose, why you wanted to do the type of project you were doing. And then you gave us as much information as you could in a specified amount of time. And we were able to ask questions, just logistical questions, and then kind of what they call probing questions to get more information really about your goals and to make sure that we were serving our purpose and helping you make the best project possible. And then we come back together and we reflect on the ideas that were shared, and just really working together as a team, as teachers and students, to do the best we can for everyone.
Cool. Awesome. You basically summed it up. Okay, so when I remember coming into this thinking, so I have my two students that I picked. They are both seniors, and they were both kind of my water testers. So they were my nice little barometers, and I could easily approach them and have them give me honest feedback.
Yes.
So I picked these two for that reason. I was definitely afraid because I never specifically elicited their opinions on what I'm going to teach. And so I was kind of afraid of their feedback, of what they might say.
Absolutely.
Or their attitude toward it, of like, this is dumb, or this is a ridiculous project. It was just all those fears just kind of boiling up inside, and hoping that it wouldn't go poorly.
And it wasn't like that.
No, not at all. I gave my elevator pitch, and I was extremely nervous, but it worked out just fine. So going into what they said, I think the hardest part for me was to listen to what they had said, and none of it was bad or negative at all. It was just very honest, and it was one of the things I remember them saying was that they liked the project idea, but they had never before finished a project with me, and that I had never kind of followed all the way through. And they started naming the projects, and I remember them hoping that they would forget, and they didn't.
Right.
So it was this bittersweet moment of like, oh, I know how you feel, and at the same time, I'm so excited that we actually get to finish this, because I know we can.
Well, and I think that was really what we were seeking from them, right? Mm-hmm. We wanted their honesty, but I also think that it was such an expression of love and respect for you as a teacher,
yes.
That they wanted for you, and they were rooting you on to bring experiences like this into their everyday.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I thought it was, I can't imagine the list that my students would have of the things that we had attempted and had not finished all the way through. But I do think it's a testament to who you are as a teacher and the relationship you have with your students.
Yeah, it was very cool that they could just honestly speak and not be afraid of any repercussions of any sort. So it was great. I remember them thinking, while the project is great, we still have other stuff we need to do.
Right.
We still have our regular concerts to prepare for, and we still need to get better as musicians. So I remember hearing their concerns of time, and just making sure that, okay, the allotted time for this project cannot exceed X.
Right.
And it was nice that we had all agreed on that.
Well, and I think especially being seniors, they had been so busy.
Yes.
With college applications, right, and everything else that was going on. And then we knew it was fitting in between holidays. And so, yeah, we had some time constraints.
Yeah.
Can I also say, I also really liked that the project tuning was between three teachers who knew each other and enjoyed each other, but different number of years in the classroom, different subject areas,
Right.
different levels of experience with projects in general.
Yeah.
So I thought it was really interesting to get different perspectives. And I also liked inviting somebody in who had never done it before so that we can keep spreading it, because it's such a positive thing for teachers.
It really is. Yeah, I just loved how it stayed positive. Like, even through the constructive criticism, it was nice to be able to criticize in a way that didn't hurt. Like,
Right.
nothing was personal.
Yeah, it wasn't that they were criticizing you.
Right.
It was acknowledging how difficult it is to do some of the things that we want to do for our students, and really celebrating that.
So what would you say to, kind of touching on that, what would you say to teachers who are reluctant to do this? Why is this a good idea for other teachers to try?
The project tuning specifically? I think that you're right in that it's so often when we talk about lessons or students or education or units or projects, we're talking about them in the abstract. And that's what we were discussing yesterday, was when we start discussing them as our projects or in our classrooms with our students, and we don't finish them, or something goes wrong with them, it feels as though it's a personal failure.
Yeah.
But when we start talking about the project, as a learning opportunity, it is not us, it is a thing that is outside of us. It does take the personal out of it. And then to know that someone else is trying to help us be successful, and can check in. There's a kind of a team building that comes with it, and a really true collaborative effort that this was not my project, but I got to be a part of it. Having to just sit and listen to other people talk about an idea, not your idea, not pitfalls that we need to look out for or anything. It's you pose a question to the group discusses it, and you have to just sit and listen.
Yeah.
And you get so many ideas from other people, that everyone is appreciated and everyone is valued. So you come in thinking you know exactly what you want to do. You have a question or two, and they just take it to another level.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I love the structure of, we have to be forced to think on this path, and let's focus on one thing, and everybody got a chance to speak on, that wasn't the one presenting all the information. I know oftentimes, like, even in department meetings, it gets to this, like, defensive mode of, like, defending your idea, and it was so nice that this project tuning doesn't, it allows for greater depth of understanding, as opposed to, like, trying to control the conversation.
Right. And also, just sometimes when you are pitching an idea or sharing an idea, you feel like you're pitching it. You feel like you have to sell it, or that you need someone else's, I don't want to say approval, but a little bit. It does feel that way. And then if people aren't approving of it, there is this, it becomes, competitive is the wrong word, but it just feels as though your idea or your work is not valued.
Right.
And all of that is removed with this protocol, this project tuning. I think it could be just everything to a department that is either just starting, or if there's an attempt to change the culture, or if people are feeling, I don't want to say left out, but let's say there's a new teacher that comes into the department, everyone else is established. It is such a way to welcome input from other people. Yeah. I think it's great.
I'd say to teachers who are maybe reluctant to try it or new to it, it's not, first, I love that it doesn't get personal, but we are teaching these specific kids. Like, I have the luxury of having them for multiple years.
Yes.
But for other subject areas, you only get 1 year, maybe 2, depending on the subject, right? And it's just such a nice way to get to know them quickly, because you can hear their thought process, and you have to listen to their thought process and
and talk about giving students, we talk about, students need to own their learning. Students need to be a part of the conversation.
Right.
We need student voice. We need student choice. This is it. Designing the curriculum together with your teacher and other teachers. You walk in and introduce that project, you at least have those 2 kids on board.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And just opening up that vulnerability of, we're asking them to be vulnerable in creating work, and
And you're modeling that.
And we're modeling. Right. We'll do it first.
Right.
It's not that scary, which I think opens up the opportunities for the students to try it as well.
Yes.